change everything this time. Let me scoot this stuff around, make myself a little bit bigger.
It says
Boop.
PUP this time and not
It does, yeah. God, my brain, like, I went back to watch that video and I was like, I don't know what she's talking about, and my brain is just not working anymore. Just needed to uncheck a checkbox and check another one, and it would have been fixed. But it's fixed this month. Oh crap! I didn't even open up the chat. All right, let's do that. Yeah, high CPU usage. I know.
So have you fully deleted Marvel? Whatever that game is that we both play.
Oh, Avengers Academy.
Yeah, that's it.
No. I feel like I'm teetering on the edge of quitting, and as long as I don't look at the subreddit too often, I feel pretty good about it. As long as I don't get too salty about it, I feel all right.
Yeah, I'm no longer the dolphin I was.
Right.
I'm down to, like, the event before last I spent $20. Last event I spent $30, and the only reason I spent $30 is because they did that Infinity statue.
Yeah,
and
I bought that too.
Because of that, I don't have to spend any money this event.
Right. Yeah, I'm only buying the premium character, and like I'm not even leveling them up. Like if I get them to level 5, great. If I don't, I kind of don't care anymore.
Yeah, I've only been getting my characters to about rank 2 by the end of these events, which is it's annoying, but at least I'm getting most of the characters. I certainly didn't get fucking Beta Ray Bill.
No, I didn't either, and I didn't get Beta Ray Bill, and I didn't get Nick Fury.
Baby Groot? Oh, Nick Fury.
I got Little Groot by like an hour.
Okay. I barely got Nick Fury.
Yeah. There was no way. I was way behind on that one. This is one of those events, though, that as soon as I started this event, I felt like I was behind already.
Yeah.
Like, I have no fighters that can fight anything. I have no currency. I just... Ugh.
It's, yeah, I don't... I mean, they're really... The thing that sucks is, like, you can't... Like, if you just spend a little money, it's barely going to get you anything in the game. Like, you just have to spend an absurd amount to get everyone ranked up and all that stuff. And it's very trying, and I'm kind of close to quitting, too, but, like... I keep doing it anyway.
Well, the way I explained it when I was talking about it on TVGP recently is I feel like I'm getting punished for sticking around this long. Like, I feel like the wall between free-to-play or, you know, free-to-play light and premium players is getting closer and closer, where it's sort of... Before it was like, here are the things you can get for free, and there's a ton of stuff over here. And here's the premium stuff you can get if you spend a little bit of money, and that's fine. But now it feels like you can get all the characters if you work really hard, and you won't level them up at all. And all this great stuff is on the other side of this wall, and it's like $100 minimum to get over there. And it seems like... I understand they have a lot of people that it seems like they have lost a significant number of players, so the number of like guppies that aren't paying $10 an event is pretty small. But
well, and the I just lost my point. Wow, this is going to be this kind of cast for me, where I'm just going to forget everything that I'm about to say or talk about.
It's rough to play a game. It's rough to play a free-to-play game for long enough that you feel like a second-class citizen instead of the large majority.
Yeah. And it's only, I mean, they have that game designed to make you want to spend just a couple more bucks every time. Just be like, oh, a couple more bucks and I'll get this thing. Oh, now that I got this thing, I can't actually get anything else.
Right.
But I want to get this other stuff. And they severely punish you if you don't immediately buy the generators at the beginning.
Yep.
Like, granted, getting all the generators don't guarantee that you're going to get everything.
Right. You still have to work pretty hard.
Yeah.
The thing that I'm really worried about is their Rick and Morty game is coming out pretty soon.
Oh, no.
So
Oh no.
I'm worried about the future of Avengers Academy, because it seems like when Avengers Academy came out, the Family Guy quest for stuff sort of got pushed down pretty hard.
Ooh.
And according,
go ahead.
as I say, according to the subreddit, the combat system they used last event and this event with the go
Which
to the
I
space.
love. I think it's great.
Evidently, they have a Futurama game that they just started that's from.
Oh, they have a Futurama one too?
Yeah.
Crazy. I was just thinking, like, oh, that'd be fun to play, and it's like, no, you fool!
No, don't do it. Don't do it.
What's wrong with you?
Don't do it.
I love Futurama.
My rule is that if I don't have fun with something as a free to play, like just purely free to play, is zero shekels are going into that. It is.
I think the real strength for Avengers Academy is the writing. The person they have doing the lead writing is clearly having a lot of fun with the game. And having fun, like, right now there's a multiverse event going on, so there's this bad guy that's going across multiple universes and killing all the Avengers across all these timelines. So it's kind of fun to see all these different universes crossing over with each other. But that still doesn't make me spend more than $10 for this event to get... Who was the premium character for this one? I just bought him.
Bucky Barnes.
Bucky Barnes, which I didn't really want to buy, but... The thing that they get me with is, oh, if you buy this guy, he's really good at combat. And it's like, crap. Well, now I have to get him.
And they always double some sort of resource or something, but I will say, having already had Yondu and Nebula, that was nice to get all that money from the last...
120,000 coins, yeah.
Yeah. I leveled up some folks that I just never thought were going to be leveled up.
Yeah.
But...
Yeah, if they could only replace that... That's the other thing, too, that bothers me, where I feel like if you spend the money to get a premium character, or if you spend the money to get, one of those unlock characters at the very end, and I feel like you get screwed twice, because if you didn't level them up at the end of the event by spending money to buy generators, then you have to spend money after the event to buy coins for real money to get them ranked up. It's like, you can't screw me both ways. Like,
That's what I was about to say.
Yeah, like, if I spend the money, granted it's $10, but if I spend the money to get the character and I don't level them up all the way, then they have a system in the game where you can get drops from the mission board very slowly, but you get them over time. Let me rank up the person with those drops. Like, you already have the system built in. You can't make me pay at both ends.
Yeah, that would be like if if Brave Exvius also charged me to get like super weapons, or if Record Keeper decided to charge you for units as well. Like, you can't charge me both times. Right. I want, like, you only charge me one way, please.
There's a commercial out here for a credit union, and it's this woman walking into a bank, and like every set of doors she runs into, you have to put money into the door to like get in, and it feels very much like that, where it's just in the, like, at every time there's a bored guy going money, and it feels very much like when I fire up Avenger Academy at the beginning of a new event, just like money. It's like, well,
yeah,
I don't have a job, Avengers Academy. Well, I have a job.
That'll really stop you.
I have a stay-at-home dad, but, like, I'm not making any money off of it.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I think that's the easiest way to become free to play, actually.
From
experience.
Do not have an income-generating job.
Yep. You're suddenly like, well, if I'm not having fun because I can't buy the thing, I guess I don't want to play it anymore.
To, like, add insult to injury, I keep getting these emails from Glassdoor because I still have an account with them, and they're like, for an IT director job in Chicago is $175,000 a year. And it's like, great, thanks. Still not in the market for a job, you jerks. Also, if I could be making that much money, like, I'd move to Chicago. Like, come on.
Man. Move just about anywhere.
Yeah, exactly. I'll move to the middle of nowhere if you're going to pay me that much money.
That's, I mean, I guess except for like Hollywood or something, where that'll just buy you a bread cart or something.
Yeah, exactly. Well, they're looking at my last title, which was manager of IT operations, and they're saying, well, like, an equivalent title would be a director, and that's correct, but I've now been out of the game for a year, which in IT is about 25 years, so I can't just hop back in and be a manager. Do you guys still use computers? Is that what's going on? Oh, man. I had an interview, I think it was like 9 months ago or so, and they had asked me a question about their ERP system, and I gave an answer, and one guy in the corner goes, yeah, that's a manager answer, all right. It's just like, excuse me?
Wow.
Clearly going to get this job. I did not. Oh, God. Okay. I need to tweet this out. Sitting here thinking, like, my God, I have to do something. Not enough food and too much coffee. Boop. Click that, unclick that, click that. Done. We didn't get any tweets this month, did we?
I don't know.
No.
You didn't have anything carried over, right?
No. Okay. No emails. We got two questions from Discord.
Awesome.
So we can at least talk about that. Okay. You guys ready to kick this thing off?
I am.
Let's do it.
All right. Starting in 3, 2, 1. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Picking Up the Pixels RPG Love. I'm your host, Boston. Joining me every month, my faithful companions, Musim.
Hello.
And Mina.
Hi.
Let's just dive right into it. Musim, what have you been playing and hopefully enjoying this past month?
Okay. I'll start out with the short one. Fire Emblem Heroes. Still playing that. I'm going to stop recounting how many golds I get each, or how many 5 stars I get to each month.
Are you just like drowning in them at this point?
No, like I generally get it's slowed down. I'm getting about 2 to 3 between episodes now, and that's mostly due to feathers. Oddly enough, because they've gotten real stingy on giving out the currency orbs. And the ones you can get take way too much effort to get. So the current event they're doing is the bridal event, where they took several of their characters and dressed them up as brides.
I've seen a lot of that on Twitter. People seem to really like this one.
I am not one of those people. I kind of despise it. Like, you go into the battle, and the story battle is that they're all fighting to get the bouquet because you're supposed to get married or whatever from it, and it's I don't know. I don't like it, and I also have not gotten a single one of the bridal characters in the few draws I've been able to do. So, but are you still playing, Mina?
I do the pulling. I don't do too much of like anything else. I didn't know that there was a storyline going behind the whole. Like, you just blew my mind right now with the whole bridal thing.
Oh yeah, like they just go into your. I think it's under story, and then whatever that other word they use for because they have the main story category, and then whatever the other category is.
Like event category.
No, it's not prologue, but yeah, they have they've done a bunch of them. Like, every event usually gets something like that, because it's either there or it's in the. I'm not gonna remember the name. Like, everyone listening, just get this out of the way. I'm not gonna remember anything this episode. We've already
one of those
established that before this, so. But anyway, there are 2 places they will put event-specific type episodes. Like, one of them is where you can do a battle to recruit a character. They'll have sometimes event things you can do there, and you can always get orbs for them, which is nice. And those are all worth doing, although some of them on Lunatic I have not been able to complete. But I want them to kind of up their orb game, or else I think they're going to lose me, because this is starting to get annoying. But so I beat Persona 5. Game went on a lot longer than I was expecting it to last time.
What was your final hour count? Do you remember?
It was way high. It was like 140 or something like that.
Wow.
I probably spent a good, I think, 15 hours or so, like grinding at a spot that I was fairly certain was right before the end game boss. That turned out not to be. But like I got
What level were you? Do you know? Like roughly.
When I beat the game, I was level 80 something.
Yeah, I was 80.
Smokes. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah, but 80 is like smooth sailing. That wasn't really an issue.
And that was because I grinded. Like, if I hadn't done the grinding, I would have beaten the game at, like, level 65 or 70, probably.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I got my my Persona compendium up to 92%.
Nice.
I believe I'm exactly level 54.
Oh, you'll be good.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah, you won't really need to grind. So I think the 3 phases is that Mina is in... about the end of November. I don't really want to say like what the name of the dungeon is.
Yeah, I'm at the end of November. Exactly.
And I platinumed the game in between. The second playthrough went way faster than I thought. All I really needed to do was like fish up the Guardian from the pond, which was way easier than I thought it was going to be. Play all the video games, read all the books, do all that sort of stuff. Doing all of the what is it? Not social links, confidants. In this was way easier than it has been in previous ones. I finished all of them with like 2.5 months to spare.
Oh wow!
And like
I think what really helps that I didn't figure out until much later is one of the confidants or social links can help grow someone else's social link without wasting a day, and unlocking that as fast as possible would probably help.
That's the fortune one, if I remember correctly, right? Yeah.
Yes.
The other thing that would have been super helpful for me to know in the first playthrough, which they do tell you, and I ignored it in one of the... there were 2 things, actually. They tell you both of them, and I ignored them. One is when you're looking at the map, like the station map, and you're hovering over something, you press square, it shows you who's there.
Someone told me this in the YouTube comments.
Yeah.
And I blew up in my head because I was like, I could have used this information to cut down so much running around in the game.
I could have used it 120 hours before they told me on the second playthrough.
I could have used it at least an 80-something hours before someone in the YouTube comments was like, I see you running around. You should probably just press the square button on the map.
Yeah, mind blown. The other thing, too, is when they ask you a question in school, you can hit the touchpad, and it will tell you what other people have answered.
So they told me about that, too, in the YouTube comments, pretty much after I capped my knowledge out. But I was still, it was kind of like, oh,
yeah,
well.
I love that. But the only thing that was a real pain, fusing everything for the compendium was pretty easy. No Windows 10, I don't want to update. God. Every show. It was actually pretty easy. So for everyone, you cannot get 100% on your first playthrough. There is a demon you can only fuse in New Game Plus. The only thing that was a real pain was getting the last 2 treasure demons. And they only show up after you've beaten a certain dungeon very late in the game. So I basically had to play through the entirety of the game to get just those last 2 to wrap out the whole thing. So that was sort of a bummer. But surprisingly, the trophy that I thought was going to be really hard, which was the Oracle Lines one, I got super early on my first playthrough. Because unlike Persona 4, you can just take everybody into mementos and just grind that out for as long as you want. So that was pretty nice. So one of the easier platinums, I thought. So highly obtainable. Just time.
I will hopefully do that later this year, but they have to stop making good games this year.
For real, yeah.
Yeah.
The thing that also helps is I used a bit of a trick on my second playthrough because I didn't really want to grind for levels. You can defeat the Reaper fairly easily if you just look up the Reaper leveling. I won't spoil it, but there's a really easy way to just get. Every time you kill the Reaper, you get, I think it's like 75,000 experience.
Oh wow!
So getting like 10 levels at a time was awesome.
Yeah, I waited too long. Like, I looked up a strategy for him that was the easy one, and just waited too long to do it. Like, by the time I saw that, I'm like, I can't even go back and do that now. That sucks.
Yeah, there's a short window where you can do it. Yeah. Persona 5 is real good.
Yeah, it's I got nothing new to add from last time.
I'm very excited for Mina to finish it, so I don't have to worry about. We were just talking about story stuff before we started recording, and a lot of it is sort of like, where did that scene? No, that's after where she is. Okay, yeah, okay.
Yeah. I'm excited for our spoiler cast because there are a lot of things I want to compliment it on and criticize it on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I can't do without that, but
I have some characters that I'd like to talk about.
Some you love, some you don't like.
I have one specific character. If anybody watches my I don't think I've gotten to that point yet. There's a turning point where one of the characters really starts to grind on me, really bad.
Is it maybe somebody with blonde, spiky hair?
Possibly. Like he really
Phantom Thieves.
Oh my gosh! At some point, I was just I know when I'm gonna edit these videos, I'm gonna have to just like rub my face because I'm gonna think to myself, I can't believe I'm gonna probably be talking about this every other video that gets uploaded because he just is so in your face about some stuff, and it's like this is why this is all gonna go to.
He was not my most disliked character. There's one character I hate way more than Ryuji.
Oh man, now I'm worried.
I'm thinking.
It's no spoiler, it's Mishima. That dude sucks. That dude sucks.
Oh, Yosuke. Okay.
No, not Yosuke.
No.
Mishima, the fan site guy.
Oh yeah, that guy. No,
Yeah.
he's I didn't even feel good about his social link thing.
I'm running his website. I have a gun. I'm sorry, what?
I started out liking him, and then at some point I was just like, oh come on, please stop. You're kind of embarrassing me, and you're embarrassing yourself.
For anybody, that's not a spoiler. What I just said, that doesn't actually happen. So don't write nasty emails saying you spoiled Mishima. He sucks anyway. Go hang out with the cool doctor. She's awesome.
Well, I think he gets you extra experience, though, doesn't he?
Yeah, he makes your his final thing makes it so that way you can have the same amount of XP going to your backup teammates that's going to your regular party.
He is, yeah. A lot of the side characters actually I think have some problems. But in terms of like main party cast, Ryoji needs to, and it's just.
I'll lead the Ryuji Defense Force during our spoiler cast then.
Okay.
I'm one of the very few people in the world that likes Ryuji.
You should. I mean, the thing is I like him as a character. I like him as a person, but as someone who's going to be a corroborator in this, you gotta learn to just close your mouth some. Okay,
you gotta, just on the DL, Ryuji.
In the middle of the city, like where everybody, not in front of the police. Could you not do it in front of this person who's looking at us? That's trying to catch us in the act. Could you please stop shouting, lower your octaves, and stop sounding super defensive when somebody brings up the Phantom Thieves, and you just start getting on the immediate defense. It's like, please, you're just making us look so suspicious.
I'm Ryuji, and I took out a billboard that says "We're the Phantom Thieves" and just put our names.
Oh.
I mean, he's that kid in high school where if you were doing something bad, like let's say you were smoking cigarettes or something in high school, he's that kid who, while you're walking into school next to your mom and their teacher's out, goes, "Hey, you want to go smoke?" Like,
you want to go smoke again behind woodshop? And it's like, dude,
come on. You're going to get us busted.
Yeah.
But that was pretty much me. Like, at some point, I really started dogging him hard. But I think what really hit was when he started to antagonize a person, like someone. He started to antagonize someone, and that really sent me over the edge, and I started
know
ranting.
Which scene you're talking about. It's like, don't kick this person when they're down. Like, let's be cool, man.
I was borderline yelling. I don't know if I'm going to have to edit the audio levels of that.
Pull those levels down.
Right.
It's just this mantra of like, shut up, Ryuji. God, man, it's
he
so
almost
mean.
Fixed everything, and you had to screw it up.
Yeah. Good times.
What a character.
Persona 5.
You know what? He stays true to himself. I think that's the nice thing is that like not all these characters are just like, oh, I love every single character. There's something about them that makes them really stand out as a different person, and like you have to like and hate them for their personality, which they don't deviate from. That's really nice.
Yeah, that's
right.
They're not all Gary Stews. They're not all Mary Sues. They all have quirks.
Yeah.
Well, the thing I really like about them, let's see if I can say this without spoiling anything, is whereas Persona 4 is very much about accepting kind of your inner demons kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Persona 5, like, it is more about getting your demons accepted in society, which I thought was a really cool kind of addition to it, which really changes how the character arcs play out in a lot of cases. But
yeah, that's a good point, because I feel like if there's a failing of Persona 3, it didn't have a really strong theme like 4 and 5 does. It's good
dark.
in a lot of the characters. Was that?
It's dark.
Yeah, it is dark. And Persona 5's dark too, but I feel like Persona 5 knows how to balance it better. Persona 3 is overly oppressive throughout its entire story. Persona 4 is largely, until the very end, largely very optimistic. I think Chie goes a long way toward that, and then the end gets a little weird. And I feel like Persona 5 did a better job of sort of balancing, here's a serious story, but there's going to be a lot of interesting parts along the way.
Someone pointed out that in this Persona that your main character has the option to say all kinds of like mean or rude or snarky things, and I was like, you know what, this may be, aside from like the Persona 3 female main character who had a very distinct personality, if you saw the options you could pick with her choices, this main character has a distinct personality. He's very much like they call him the trickster in at some points, and that's a pretty apt way of describing his personality, is that he's definitely enjoying like toying around a little bit and just being more of a jokester, where I felt the Persona 3 main character and 4 main character were very much like blank slates.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't really give them a personality other than they're just a guy.
Did you ever watch the Persona 4 anime?
Oh yeah, it was good.
Okay,
liked it.
Did they give him in Persona 4? Did they ever give him a personality in the anime? I haven't watched it yet.
It was pretty much like it was deadpan is what they went for. But what you saw over time was that like his deadpan became more of a jokey sort of deadpan, or like the scene at the King's Game scene.
Yeah.
He's still deadpan in that scenario, but he's got like, he does things with like he opens his shirt or whatever, and it's more like he's showing off his charm by like getting the girls all over him and just acting cool or whatever. So if I were to define it, it would be deadpan to cool guy.
Right, cool deadpan guy.
Right, yeah, and then they did the golden animation as well, where. The golden animation, you can tell that he has maxed out stats immediately, because he has way more overflowing personality compared to like the intro of complete like nothingness on his face when he introduces himself to like Nanako. Whereas like the golden version, when he meets her, he's got like a big smile, and he's just charming her as like the new older brother or whatever.
Right.
So
I'll have to watch that.
Yeah.
Have either of you guys watched the Persona 5 anime yet?
Not yet. I wanted to finish the game first.
I think that's my take too.
Yeah.
I keep forgetting it's there, to be honest with you.
Oh, no.
Until you mentioned
I need to. Yeah, I just remembered it in this conversation. I'm like, I haven't watched that yet. I should probably do that. But anyway, so if you guys are done with Persona,
Yes.
Yes.
okay. So I started a new game. Well, I kind of took a break from turn-based RPGs, but I did not take a break from RPGs, and I started Nier Automata.
Ooh.
This game is, I think, less RPG than maybe I originally thought it was, but it's very kind of MMO RPG, I think, in terms of going out and finding quests and doing them and stuff like that, and go kill these things at this location, go fetch this thing. But the whole, as I'm sure everyone's already heard, like everything you do in that game is utterly depressing no matter what you do.
Yes.
Which they do a super, super good job at. And the music is freaking phenomenal.
It's so good. I played the intro up until the point where you do the ting, and then you have like the black and white, you're on some sort of space station. That's what I played. And even in the intro, it's just like, God, the music is back, and it's so good.
Yeah, and they have a thing they do that I hope. Well, okay, it is what it is. So they have a hacking mini game that occurs occasionally, where you go to a different viewpoint, and every time they go to the hacking mini game, the orchestral music that you're hearing now smoothly transitions into like this almost chiptune type thing. Like, it's really, really cool. It's something that took me a long time to notice, to be honest with you. But
yeah.
I've beaten the game once, so I'm on my second playthrough. If you're not familiar with how the game works, you kind of play through multiple times. I assume it's different characters every time, but I don't know.
Yeah, I will reiterate what I said on TVGP, that I think... So there's 26 endings in all, and a lot of them are like, you got ending Z because you died on Chapter 5, that sort of stuff. There's really 5 proper endings. That ending E is the real true ending. I really wish that Square Enix had called them chapters instead, because I think when people hear, oh, you're going to have to play the game again, each time you play it, it is radically different, and it's not... The character you play through in the second playthrough is different than the one in the first playthrough, and it changes it up throughout the other ones. I really wish they had called them chapters, because a lot of people hear, oh, well, I have to play through it 5 times, and they think of like a nightmare version of Chrono Trigger, where you're just playing the same thing 5 times. It's like, you're really not. It's just you're continuing the story, and it's different every time. And if I remember correctly, your side quests carry over between each playthrough, so you don't even have to do those multiple times. So, I really don't want that to push people away, because it's supposed to be something really special. And I've heard a lot of people say like, well, it's like it's really not like that.
Yeah, I'm not
this is by
super
Yoko
far.
Taro, right?
Yeah.
Okay. When you said that, I immediately thought, like, this must be a Yoko Taro game, because this sounds like something you would conceive.
Well, and like I've heard that your side quests carry over. Mm-hmm. Because I just went through like the opening first hour or so of the game, like the initial side quests I've had to redo so far, but they're all like quests that are like, oh, this guy can't upgrade your weapons till you go kill these enemies over here.
Oh, sure.
So, like, my assumption is they'll just do those basic ones, and then everything will kind of open up. But I don't know that for a fact. But like, the gameplay is like at least 50% different than it was in the first playthrough, and there are like once you realize what they're doing in the second playthrough, you realize there are lots of points where this character is not on the screen where this other character is, so obviously something's going to happen different there. And
oh, right. Like you're seeing a different aspect of the first story?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Like it's very, like the entire intro mission is about 100% different.
Yeah.
Like gameplay and all, and,
That's cool.
and kind of what you witness. But I do have to rag on the game a little bit in that I really don't think the gameplay is good until you get you do enough grinding to like because what you're equipping on your characters is chipsets, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you go into your inventory and you see those, and you have to get enough good ones because the camera, they do some innovative stuff with the camera, but it's a lot of it is bad. Like there are, because the game is combined with a 3D action game and then goes in and out of shmup type combat, like overhead or side, like.
And both of them are very similar, where you have the bullet hell stuff coming at you, whether it's 3D or top-down.
Right.
And unfortunately, in the 3D part, it very much is a platinum camera, where it's like, this is fine. I really need it to be good, though, because there's a lot of stuff on screen.
Well, and the 3D stuff winds up not being so bad. Like, in all the cases, like, what they'll usually do is you'll have one bullet that you can take out with your gun, and then one bullet that you can take out with your sword, kind of thing. So it's kind of just balancing between these. The scene that frustrated me and it made me seriously, like, almost, I don't know. I don't know. I was pretty close to quitting the game if I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Was there is a kind of a pseudo boss fight where you're fighting two characters in a 2D plane. That's it's almost Odin sphere like, because you're going around this circle fighting these guys and they're lecturing you, and it's a battle that I mean, you'll have put it together by now, but it's a battle you can't win.
Okay. My favorite RPG trope.
but when I say it's a battle you can't win, I mean it's the type that you have to win to lose.
Okay. Ugh, God, even worse.
And I kept dying on it. Yeah, like so.
No, rewind. It's a battle that you have to win to lose.
So it's one of those where, okay, I beat these guys up for so long, and then at the end they kick my butt and leave, kind of thing.
Right, like stupid. You have to fight them for long enough to get through the speech.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to lose. Just make me lose. Don't make me have to earn my loss.
Well, and it's not timed. It's related to their health bars. I think it's like once you get them half down or a fourth down, or maybe you have to empty them. I honestly don't remember.
Right.
But the like when you combine that with the fact that they decided it'd be a great idea to include the Dark Souls death system in it, where when you die, that robot body has died. So now you have to go get that robot body back to get your chips back.
Do a corpse run. And
if you die before then you lose that corpse and you lose those chips.
Right.
Luckily, they give you a massive amount of chips in that game, so you aren't going to run out. But the negative part is that also means you are going to run out of healing items, and so the potential entirely exists for you to be fighting a boss and have the point that it keeps reloading you to being the beginning of the boss and be out of health items.
Oh no.
Yeah. Like whereas you could go in with like 10 or 20 if you're really bad at the game. Like, that situation is going to occur on you. Luckily, after that point, like, I got enough good stuff and enough good chipsets and everything. Like, no other battle in that game, for me at least, was that difficult.
Right.
Most of them were doable. Like, there was an occasional part where I just dropped into an area with guys who were 20 levels higher than me and died, and I can't even go back and get my corpse, so I'll just have to leave it there. But I mean, overall, I think it's a neat game. They one of the neat things they do in the chipsets is they have they put one that's your OS, and if you remove that chip, then you die. So that was the first thing I did in the game.
That's always my favorite thing. Like, that's the first thing I want to do too. Where it's like, the game even warns you, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like, hey man, pulling out your OS is gonna this isn't gonna be good, and it's like, yeah man, whatever.
Well, and they like the menu options are in-game things that other characters acknowledge. Like, they actually have a bit where a character is guiding you through setting up your stuff, and you have like an option in it where you can turn off your auto destruct button, and I assume that's going to play at some point into the story. But
yeah,
they have a lot of neat stuff, and no one feels that I've spoiled anything for them.
If you listen to TVGP, Knob spoiled about 3 of the 5 endings, so don't worry about it.
Oh.
Including the final ending, so, you know.
Oh, wow.
No worries. Mina, I thought the point you just made in Twitch chat was really interesting.
Oh, well, which one?
They always sound interesting to me, but I prefer to hear about them rather than play them.
Ah, yes.
I think that's what's interesting to me about Yoko Taro in general is I respect 2 things out of Nier Automata. One is he realized, and probably with the help of Square Enix realized, hey, the previous Nier game, the battle system was not good. Like, maybe we should get someone in who can help us with that, and they pulled in Platinum, which I think is a really great choice. But I also like that he doesn't make games for everyone. Like, a lot of times, especially when you look at Square Enix, we get these big RPGs that are kind of meant for everyone. They're very friendly, and I really like that he came out with a game that is, with every ending you gets sadder and sadder and more depressing. Like, we never get that in games. We always get, like, everybody got together in the end and they kissed and yay, babies. You know, like, we get that, and I like that he's like, no, man, life kind of sucks. Like, here's my game, Nier Automata, whatever.
But there's, like, some really goofy stuff in there, too, that's, like, a lot of fun and happy. Like, people just showing up with the big... Like, they call them robot heads, and I guess they look kind of like the heads in the robot, but it just makes me think of Yoko Taro, you know?
Yeah, his big mask head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they have, like, I bought the digital version, and I guess it came with one of those, and it took me basically until near the end of my first playthrough to figure out how to equip it. I had to Google it. So, for everyone listening, the way you equip alternate outfits and head pieces and things like that is you go to your key items, you find the item in there, you click on it, and then say equip.
That is not intuitive.
No, not at all.
Boy.
Like, so I finally got to make my little floaty robot guy look like PlayStation 1, so that's fun.
Yeah, I got that. I bought the game not too long ago, and I was surprised to find that I got a Day 1 edition. Which came with those codes, and I was like, that's the one I wanted. I wanted my flying robot dude to look like a PS1, and I'm super happy I got it.
Yeah.
So
it's odd.
Oh, good.
I was going to say, oddly enough, I've been going with the book that he came with more.
Oh, yeah.
Just this floating book that opens up and shoots. I think it has something to do with one of their other games, but...
I think that's the previous Nier. I think you had that book floating around with you.
Okay.
Yeah, I after Persona 5, I played... I'm playing very different games. I decided to play Prey after Knobs bought it for me, which couldn't be more opposite from Persona 5, but is also fighting with Persona 5 and Yakuza 0 for my number 1 slot this year. And after that, I decided, before I get into Nier Automata, I'll play something else really short, but I'm almost done with that and Nier Automata. I'm very excited for Nier Automata to be my next game, because now that Knobs has had enough time away from it, and he's done being upset with an ending he somehow didn't see coming, now I think I can talk about it on TVGP. So.
Well, and I'm excited to see the other endings. The first ending takes about 20 hours to get. There were a couple points where I got kind of stuck on a side quest and couldn't figure out where to go, because I guess there's the other problem with the game is the world geometry is deceptive. Whereas your map will tell you exactly what paths you can go on. Every single building in that game looks like you can go inside it.
Oh, okay.
Which and sometimes you do go inside these buildings, so it's unintuitive in that aspect.
It's like playing an old GTA game where it's like, which one am I supposed to go? Oh, I can go in this one. Okay.
Yeah.
Good news is, HowLongToBeat.com says, on average, people finish all of the endings in 37 hours. So
that's
you're already
good
halfway
news.
there.
Yeah. Well, and I figure, like, after the second ending, because the character you are in the second playthrough, like is the other. Well, I don't want to spoil it for anyone,
but it makes sense who you are.
Yeah, and whoever you're going to be in the other playthroughs, like even whether you're repeating the characters, I can't imagine that they have as much screen time as these first two playthrough characters.
Right.
But I don't know. I like the weapons in it. I like the equipping the different weapons and leveling them up. I like they clearly have a mock Dark Souls area of the game where you even like can find a hidden blacksmith type thing.
Oh, cool.
I don't know. They have a lot of really fun stuff in that game. Like, despite everything being depressing and horrible, it's got a lot of fun comedic moments.
And it looks really good. I really like the style of the menu. Like, it really looks like you walked up to a computer console and that's what you run. Like, it's very much, it's like black text on a sepia background. Like, all of that looks really cool.
Yeah. Oh, and just a heads up, when you're on the space station, it is in black and white. It is not your TV or your PlayStation like I thought it was mine.
Yeah.
Like I was out of town for my job training in another city, so I was on a hotel TV, and I was like, can HDMI do that? Can that cord come loose and lose?
Is this cable going? Oh God, is it my PS4?
Yeah. It was some scary moments. But anyway, so that's all I've been playing.
Mina, what have you been playing this past month?
So the only game I've been really playing is Persona 5. Everything else that I've touched has got to be like sub 30 minutes, and I have no opinion to really draw from them.
Okay.
But I don't want to spoil anything about my Persona 5 playthrough.
Watch it on YouTube.
Yeah, watch it on YouTube. That's where the Let's Plays are getting uploaded.
You have almost 50 videos out now?
I've got, it must be 40-something now.
Okay.
They're in like 30, 45-minute chunks, because I noticed that one thing that people complained about my zero time to limit playthroughs was sometimes they went to like an hour or an hour and 30 minutes, and that's a lot to ask for. Like 30 minutes is a lot anyways, but yeah, they get uploaded every single weekday, which is as fast as I can do with
as fast as you can put them out.
Right, I can't put them out any faster.
Yeah.
So, what have you been playing, Boston?
The only other, I was talking about playing other stuff. Go play Prey; it's really good. The only other RPG I've been playing is I finally took the time to create a Japanese iTunes account so I could play Granblue Fantasy.
Oh yes, Granblue.
Yeah. I've been seeing this all over Twitter, and I keep seeing it. It's like, what? It's supposed to be this really great RPG, so it took me like an hour and a half to finally get through creating all of this stuff. I haven't even created a Mobitch account, which I don't. That's probably going to be the death of me. It's so
complicated. I wanted to do it one day, but then I was like, after like 45 minutes of like fumbling around, I was like, you know what? It can't be worth all this.
Yeah,
I stopped.
I found a really good guide, which was like, create a new Google account, follow these screenshots to sign into the Japanese store and create an account, and then just download something for free, like the iTunes store, and then download Granblue Fantasy. Switch back to your other account, and then everything will run fine. The main reason why I'm downloading this is for some reason they decided on the Japanese version of the game to completely translate the game into English, but not release it here. And when I say completely translate it, 100%, except for when you try to go spend like in-game currency you don't have enough, the screen that pops up is in Japanese. It's like, okay, I guess I don't have enough to buy this. But everything else is in English, and it's translated really well. This is an incredibly solid and consistent translation. So it's one of those things where it's like, but it could come out over here. Like, there's probably some back end thing that you can't figure out, like the Mobitch back end, but you could bring it out over here, and it could probably do pretty well. I haven't played a ton of this because there's a lot of text in this game. They do a really good job of setting up all of your party members and immediately giving all of them personalities. You have your little flying guy that's always following you. It's very much standard JRPG tropes. There is a pretty serious gacha system in there, like most mobile games have nowadays. I'm early enough that I don't really understand it yet, and my big problem with a lot of gacha games is I have a real problem with beginner's guides to these games, because the thing that everybody will say is like, okay, start this game, get to this point, if you don't get this thing, delete it and reroll. And it's like, I don't want to, like, just tell me which things I should be pulling, and is this banner that's up right now good? Or the weird thing that this game does is when you get a rare weapon, a character comes with it, and that character then has their own short storyline. So it's like, am I pulling good stuff, and should I put these characters in my inventory, like in my party, and should I be doing their fate episodes, which is like their little storyline when you get them? The game doesn't do a really great job at tutorializing stuff that's out of the battle system. And like normal gacha games, it's sort of the very first advice is, well, just keep re-rolling until you get this thing. It's like, I just need to know how to pull stuff. Like, I'm
guessing you looked up like the Reddit page for the...
I did, and I need to find a better getting started guide for just like, how do you... I know how to play the game. The game does a really, really good job at tutorializing its battle system. It maybe takes a little bit longer than I would like to, but I think it is making sure that it explains... it reminds me a little bit of the Fire Emblem, the triangle of things. It has 4 things that are all, ice is stronger than water, and water is stronger than lightning, and it has the thing, and dark is stronger than light, and vice versa. I think it does a really good job at explaining all of that stuff, but maybe takes a little bit... I wish there was a button that's like, I've played Final Fantasy before, like, I get what this graph means, like, let's keep moving. So I've only put a couple hours into it, but I want to play a little bit more to try and figure out if this is going to be one of those gacha games that really pulls me along, or if it's going to be this very story-focused thing. I'm honestly not sure if I'm going to stick with it all that long, because that's not the thing I'm looking for in a mobile game. I don't have a ton of time to sort of sit there and like read a story and then fight a couple battles and read some more story. I kind of need to get in and out. I'm looking for something like Brave Exvius. I'm looking for something like Record Keeper, where there's the amount of story that's in there is fairly thin, and in the case of Brave Exvius, fairly predictable throughout the first couple hours.
It's pretty predictable even where I'm at, and it's like...
Oh, really?
I don't know how many hours in it would be like I'm at the very end of Brave Exvius and the story that they've provided so far, and honestly sometimes I just hit that skip button because I couldn't be bothered, because it's silly. The story is really silly. It's very evil people doing evil things, and we're the good people doing good things.
Very much like Final Fantasy IV, where it's like, that guy's probably the bad guy.
Pretty simple.
So I'll see if I stick with it. I want to stick with it a little bit more because it was such a pain to download. That I don't want all that work to go to waste, because there's nothing really else for me to download in the Japanese store, because all of it's in Japanese. It seems good so far, but I don't know if I have room in my heart right now for another gacha game, especially with me playing Marvel Puzzle Quest, which is way more of a gacha game than I was expecting it to be.
Oh no.
And after now recovering from Final Fantasy Record Keeper, do I want to go down that dark hole yet again? Well, thankfully I can't spend money on it because I don't have a Japanese credit card.
Stick to Cairo Soft games.
Yeah, man.
They're super fun, and once you pay your $2.99, you can just go on with your Kairosoft life.
I just dumped another Kairosoft game because I talked about it recently on TVGP. It's a company. Kairosoft is really good at very small games, and once their games get too big, nearly every facet of them gets pretty rough. And that's the game I just dumped, where it's like, I'm not enjoying any of this.
Give me a name of the game. I'm curious.
High Sea Saga.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. A little rough.
Stop playing that one.
Yeah, I did too. Where I'm like, I'm not enjoying any of this. I gotta go. But that's all I've been playing this month, so let's take a break. I have to put a news story in here. Because pre-registration for the Fiesta.
I was actually gonna ask if we were gonna talk about that at all. I'm planning on doing it on my phone. I really don't think I'm gonna stream it this time unless I hear like some overwhelming cries for me to stream it.
Yeah, I can't really do that this year because of the baby.
Yeah.
How did this get so screwed up? That's weird. Screw it. Yeah, I would love to. The other thing too is like, I feel like my runs the last 2 years have all been really samey. So I get about halfway through the game and it's like, okay, great, I got Samurai. Like now I'm gonna finish the game. Cool. I'm gonna use Zenigage and we're gonna be done with the crystals. You know, there hasn't been that real challenge for the last couple of years. So I'm trying to figure out if I'm gonna do it on iOS, where I hate the controls, or I do it on Game Boy Advance and I just play it as I'm going to bed when I don't have the baby crawling all over me.
There's too many games right now.
God, I know. Like, I still want to play Horizon Zero Dawn, and I don't even have... My next game coming from GameFly is Steins Gate Zero, which will tie me up for like 40 more hours.
Yep.
Well, Horizon Zero Dawn is kind of long, and it's one of those games where you gotta... Like, if you try and play it like a normal game, action-wise, you're probably not going to enjoy it as much. You just got to start...
right down.
Yeah, you got to start using the traps, or you're going to be miserable in it.
Yeah.
And the traps can be a lot of fun, but the game doesn't probably push you as much as it needs to use them. I say traps. Like, not the things actually called traps in the game, but like the varied weapons that create different... Like, they have an item called traps that you can just set on the ground. Like, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about the different weapons where you set tripwires and...
You have to actually hunt the monsters.
Yeah.
The robot monsters. Yeah, and like the bad part, the bad/good part, just in case this person's watching, is Jimbo Jangles also sent me Mass Effect Andromeda. So, like, after Nier Automata, like, I have this giant Mass Effect game to play, too, which I'd like to play this year so it can factor into my top 10.
Have you played any more of Mass Effect? Because you stopped talking about it after one episode, and then I was like, did Persona 5 collide with it like I said it would?
Yeah, well, and it helps that I really wasn't enjoying Mass Effect Andromeda at all.
Yeah.
I still, like... Part of me disagrees with everyone on the combat on Mass Effect Andromeda so much that I'm really tempted to do a YouTube comparison video showing everyone how much better the combat of Mass Effect 3 is, but I don't think I have it in me. That's a lot of video editing.
Open up that can of worms.
I don't know how to video edit. I don't think I care that much about proving people wrong.
Your rage isn't so much that you have to learn how to video edit.
There you go.
Yeah.
I was just curious because I was like, Persona 5 came out that next month, and then you didn't talk about it. And I was like, I wonder if he just stopped because he didn't like it, or if because Persona 5 was just greater than, or...
Well, I'm so surprised because Moon and Knobs both love it so much. And I that was definitely not what I was expecting from a new Mass Effect game out of the two of them.
Well, and I think, like... Because I listened to them talk about it, I listened to Moon talk about it, you know, on TVGP, and it's like it makes me think that they love different things about Mass Effect than I do. Which, you know, it may be the case, and it may just also be that, like, I don't know how often Moon and Knobs have replayed Mass Effect 2 and 3 and 1, and I have replayed those games. I mean, I've beaten 1 at least 3 or 4 times. I've beaten 2 at least, I think, 6 times.
Yeah.
And 3, I've only beaten... I mean, I guess technically I beat it 3 times because, you know, you just have that save point that you go back to. But, like, 3, I've replayed up to, like, certain points in the game, like, multiple times as different characters and things. And I played a ton of the multiplayer on 3. So, like, I don't know. Part of it, too, may be I'm just really irked that they ditched off the combat system in favor of this new thing, you know, and that may be coloring my...
I mean...
I'm eventually going to go back to the game. I am eventually going to do it. It's just, you know, we're in an embarrassment of riches this year. This is like the best gaming year since like 2011 or something, it seems like.
Yeah, it's crazy.
See, I liked 1 and 2 as well. I never played 3. Still haven't gone to play 3. But I really loved 2. Like, I thought I loved 1 a lot, and then I played 2, and then I was like, well, apparently I love 2 even more than 1.
I think you'd like 3 a lot then, if you liked 2. 3's combat, I think, is better than 2's.
I mean, like...
2 made me so happy.
Like, here's my pitch for 3 is, if you like 2, and you want that combat, like, just magnified and kind of tightened down and made even better, just along that same lines.
Yep.
And if you like really depressing stories...
Yes.
Like, and if you like... I mean, the only negative is, like, as Mass Effect goes, the music gets worse per entry, it seems like.
Unfortunately.
Like, I like the music in 3.
In 3. I don't want to see... I feel like 2 was really happy where I stopped it, because everything's great. I'm dating my new boyfriend after Caden dumped me. I'm dating my new boyfriend, the lizard guy.
That's not gonna last. Whoever it is, you don't even have to name who it is. Whoever it is, it's not gonna last.
Yeah.
Who I already know is sick. I already know the lizard guy's sick.
Oh,
so I know it's not gonna end well. So
poor lizard boyfriend.
For me. It ends there. Yeah, lizard boyfriend was cool because he wasn't a piece of garbage like Caden was for dumping me. Oh, because I died. Could you forgive me because I died?
Yeah.
You know?
I came back to life. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Maybe I should have stayed dead. Then I wouldn't have to deal with you.
Would that have made you happy?
Sorry. You know? It's just... Wow.
Yeah, I don't... Like, and here's the other thing. Like, I still really want to play through Torment Tides of Numenera. They just released a big patch for it. I'm thinking I'm probably going to go back to that one and start the game over.
Yeah.
And just kind of... Because I'm not that far into it, and I have to play and finish that game before the end of the year, because I think that runs the chance of being in my top 10.
Yeah.
But like Mass Effect, I will play it at some point this year. It's not a priority for me, and when I get back to it, I'm not going to start it over, because the beginning of that game is a freaking drag.
You can just read the Wikipedia page to catch up anyway on story.
There was barely any story. I'm already caught up.
Even better.
Like, I'm entirely caught up on everything that happened. It's and you know, also part of my like, I bought it for PC, and I haven't upgraded my PC in like 5 years. I can run all the old Mass Effect games on top settings. This one, like, I'm at like the bare bottom setting.
Oh yeah.
So that is probably affecting some of my interpretation of the world and it looking like crap. But
yeah,
I assume it looks a lot better on console and people with recent video cards.
Yeah.
But
all right, you guys ready to wrap this thing up?
Yes.
Let's do it.
All right, starting in 3, 2, 1. Let's talk RPG releases for June 2017. First and foremost, Final Fantasy XIV Stormblood comes out on PC, OS X, and PS4 on the 20th. Mina is super pumped. Mina, secret hardcore Final Fantasy XIV raider, as I found from our Discord server.
Extreme. I try to keep it on the down low here because I feel like if I bring it up all the time, it would get pretty annoying.
Yeah.
But yeah, I try to keep that quiet. But I will be talking about Stormblood because I think that it's got a bunch of things that people have been waiting for. Specifically, Red Mage and Samurai are coming,
nice.
And like people have just been like crying for these two jobs for the longest time. So
yeah. It sounds good. I'm happy with the level of excitement that people have over Final Fantasy XIV. Every time they announce something new, like the internet explodes for a couple days, where it's like, more Final Fantasy XIV, yeah. It's like that's really good to see after what Final Fantasy XIV originally was. It's nice to see that train still rolling.
I think the key thing is the man behind it all is a diehard Final Fantasy fanboy.
Yeah.
And Final Fantasy XIV is basically like trying to bring to life everyone's fan dreams of what, if I could make an MMO based off of Final Fantasy, what would I make?
Right.
Instead of like being absolutely serious and trying to make this just like, a brand new Final Fantasy and take us seriously. It's very much a, you know what we're going to do, you guys? We're going to put some Final Fantasy V stuff in.
Right.
And
someone asks like,
doing.
Can we put magic armor in there? It's like, yeah, man, you can do what you want.
We're going to be able to have our own Sildra mounts in Storm's Blood. So I can't wait to ride on Sildra across the ocean.
Man, that's super cool. Final Fantasy XIV.
Right?
So cool. And last but not least, Valkyria Revolution coming out for the Vita, PS4, and Xbox One on the 27th. I don't know much about this. Is it markedly different from the other games you guys know?
I remember looking this up. Newsom, go ahead while I...
Oh, I have no idea. I don't...
I'm just trying to refresh my memory by looking at a picture of
Newsom
it.
was leaning in, like, I got the scoop.
It is okay. I see the character from the Valkyria. What is that gun? The gun RPG thing. What's it called? Come on, it's got the
gun RPG.
Wilkin and. You don't remember, Boston? I know you played this game. It's got the blue-haired lady with the lance. The
Valkyria Chronicles, right?
Yeah, is that it?
Oh, okay.
That's the gun game? I'm like, I thought you were talking about something else. I'm like,
oh god, I thought I just had an aneurysm, and I was like, I haven't played this. I don't know what game you're talking about. I thought you were talking about
No.
Oh yeah, that much I knew. I knew this was a Valkyria Chronicles thing.
I thought you were talking about that Tri-A Sega game that came out on the 360.
No.
Resonance of Fate. And I was just like,
oh yeah.
I was just like,
man, I need to get back to that game. I liked that game.
See our previous conversation about Mass Effect Andromeda.
I know that this is a spin-off of it. I know it's not like not like
Valkyria 4.
No. It's definitely a spin-off. I know I saw like bits and pieces of it, and obviously it still has that crazy blue-haired Valkyrie lady.
Yeah, now I can't even remember her name.
I can't remember her name either.
It's like the poster lady for the series.
She's literally on the box art, probably for all of them.
Oh, God.
But I remember looking at some footage of it. I'm probably down to get it.
Yeah. I mean, we're getting another Valkyria game in the US, so that's great at the very least.
Yep. Still want the other one that we never got.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to news stories. 2 pieces of Square Enix news this month. Both of them are downers. I'm sorry. The Final Fantasy VII Remake is now being pulled away from CyberConnect 2, which I did not realize was making the game. They of Naruto and Dot Hack fame. Now Square Enix has pulled it in-house, and they're going to be finishing it. Which is bad. Not that Square Enix can't do it, but our next news story is that we won't be seeing Kingdom Hearts 3 or Final Fantasy VII Remake for... it'll launch in, quote, the next 3 years or so, end quote. So...
Wow. So by the time they get Final Fantasy VII Remake out, all the people who will have memories of that game will be dead.
Yes. And everybody who voice acted Final Fantasy VII along the way.
I think I remember something about this in the first place when they originally announced that this wasn't going to be like done in-house, but by like I remember reading something about like how he was not like happy with that setup.
Was CyberConnect 2 making
Nomura? Yeah.
Interesting.
Nomura made like some sort of comment that when I read it, I was like, he doesn't sound very happy about this arrangement.
Putting them on blast?
So it was kind of weird. And so when they announced that it was coming back in-house, I wondered if that had something to do with it. That was just something that I noticed.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
they announced it on the Mobius. Oh, that's right, because I play Mobius. I don't talk about it, but I watched the Mobius stream, and that's how they announced it. They sneaked it in there in the middle of the Mobius stream. Hey,
Mobius is really great. Final Fantasy remake. Anyways, moving on.
Yeah, that's pretty much what happened. I remember thinking to myself, I didn't remember seeing this on any news article, and I looked it up, and nobody had posted it, and that was how they announced it, that it was going back in-house.
Yeah, per this article, famed Batman character designer Tetsuya Nomura is going to be heading up the project here. So, I guess that makes sense, but this seems really strange because I'm surprised that Square would let another team take lead development on a Final Fantasy VII property that wasn't a spin-off, but then to pull it back in-house, it's odd.
Yeah.
This happened with another game. You might know it as Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah, who was originally developing 15? I thought that was a sub-team of Square, though.
It was someone else.
When it was 13 Versus, I felt like 13 was happening. Yeah, it was called 13
Versus, right.
And then Versus was sort of like, our new guy is heading up Versus.
Right.
Or
and then
Versus,
they pulled,
as it's supposed to be pronounced.
Oh, God.
Don't forget.
They pulled that one back in-house, and that's when it changed to Final Fantasy 15, after they pulled it back.
This is going to get renamed. So it'll be Final Fantasy 17. I could feel it.
Man.
It's totally going to be Final Fantasy 17.
Cloud
PlayStation 6.
I mean, if it has a really cool title reveal trailer like 15 did, where it was Final Fantasy 13 Versus and then they erased it and wrote 15, that was pretty cool. I liked that, but speaking of games we should get back to, I should probably finish Final Fantasy 15 sometime this year.
Probably should.
Oh yeah, that game is a good ending.
Yeah.
I
hope, because I'm not enjoying the beginning.
Oh.
Yeah. It was not clicking with me. I think the thing about these two news stories that disappoints me the most is the incredibly long development cycle for Kingdom Hearts 3. I'm not surprised, but I think when you've talked about Kingdom Hearts 3 for such an extended period of time, I would have expected it to be out by now, but for them to say, well, maybe 3 more years, it's sort of like, when do you pull the plug? Like, what's the percent? A lot of Japanese companies will come out and say, like, oh, we've finished 65% of the game. It should be due in 18 months or so. How much of the game is done after 5 years we're talking about here?
I feel like they have to be, like, trashing it and rebuilding it like Blizzard style or something at this point, because it doesn't make sense for them to be working that long on a game. I just can't imagine that they're still working on the same thing.
If they have, like, Kingdom Hearts 3 needs to come out, and a book about the development also needs to come out. Like, I want to read the dirty details of why it took us 8 years to make Kingdom Hearts 3. Yeah. That seems crazy. Man. Yep. In better news, we have 2 release dates for some upcoming and anticipated games coming out this year. Divinity Original Sin 2 launching in September. It's in early access right now, if I remember correctly. But it's coming out September 14th. People seem to really be enjoying that one, even in early access.
I really like the Divinity stuff, and I'm probably going to be looking for someone to play through Divinity 2 with, since they're really pushing the co-op mechanic stuff.
Yeah.
And even the first game I thought had good co-op mechanics, but they're just diving all the way into it. So
nice.
And
just FYI to all friends and family and podcast mates, if you guys want to
hit Musum up. You can find him at Musum.
We have about 3 months to decide, so.
Yeah.
The whole reason why I didn't finish the first one was because the person I was playing with stopped playing it with me, and then it was just kind of like, oh, okay.
Bummer.
And so then I didn't continue.
The first one I didn't get very far in. I really liked it, but every time I go back to it, I'm like, man, that's a lot of stuff to do.
It is. It's very much like whenever I think about playing Mass Effect again, I think to myself like, there's a lot of Mako stuff I got to do, and I don't know if I want to do all of that again.
Yeah.
No, that first Mass Effect game is a strong 40 to 50 hours.
Yep.
Easy.
And next release, the one that I forgot I had backed on Kickstarter, and it's actually coming out, Battle Chasers Night War, which is still not a great title. This is the 2D JRPG that's made by Joe Mad worked on this one as well, right?
Yeah.
This still looks beautiful, and it looks super, super cool. It's coming out October 3rd. Which is just 4 short months away. I think I backed this on PS4, so I'll be getting a console version of that. This seems really cool, and I think there's a beta coming at some point. So if that happens, if the beta is still happening, we'll probably talk about it on the show. But if not, in October, or I guess November, we'll be talking about this one. Very excited to see how this turns out, because I haven't really paid attention to it. I've paid attention a lot more to the Toe Jam and Earl Kickstarter that I put way too much money into. I want to see how that turns out. Let's move on to questions. We have 2 of them from Bill Sifford over in the Discord server. Says, so I was looking at my collection and I noticed that with originals and remasters I have too many copies of the same game. 5 copies of Kingdom Hearts and 4 copies of Final Fantasy X. What games do you guys have too many copies of? Mina looks guilty over there.
Because I can already tell that I've owned way too many copies of several games. I own too many copies of every type of Final Fantasy, to be perfectly honest. I own them on every type of device you can buy them available.
Yeah.
Like for Final Fantasy X alone, I know like the 10 and 10-2, I own them. Of course, the way they came originally, I own them. The international version on the PS3, PS4, Vita. I own it on the PC on Steam.
Jeez.
So it's like I've bought that game one too many times in many different ways.
Yeah.
And then of course
how many copies of 5 do I have then? I have I have it on PlayStation 1, English and Japanese, Game Boy Advance, just the English one on that one, iOS. I feel like there's another copy I'm missing. I might have 5 copies. I wonder if I have that collection. I have a collection on the Japanese collection of Final Fantasy 4, 5, and 6. It came in. It's called the Final Fantasy Collection, which is just a weird name for it. It came in this beautiful case that looks like it has water all around it. Oh, it looks so good. I don't know where I have that. I should dig that up.
The other thing I have that I just remembered is like for Persona 4, I own them physically, but I also own them digitally. Well, and that goes for all the Persona games.
Atlas does those sales, and it's like, oh, I can get Persona 3 for $2.50.
And then I won't have to put in the little... I won't even have to put in the game. I can just have it there, and that's... But I want all of the physical stuff as well that comes with the collector stuff.
You're amongst friends,
Mina. I get that.
We get you.
I seem to max out at about 3 or so copies per game, and I don't think that's intentional. I think it's just they stop releasing them. Like,
yeah.
Like I think at least 3 or 4 copies of Persona 3, right? Because you have the regular version, the FES, the P3P, and then a digital copy. You know.
Right.
Yep.
And that's let me think. Where am I at on Persona 1? Because Persona 1 had the original PlayStation.
On Steam, you would buy it on Steam too, right?
Yeah. Oh, hands
well, and that's yeah. I'm pretty sure I own all the Persona stuff digitally. I mean, I bought 2 of the special edition of Persona 5, and that second copy is going to stay sealed for a while, and let's see if I can get rid of it. Yeah.
Mina's showing her 3DS for which one was that?
Persona Q.
Persona Q.
Yeah.
I have
that was purely to sit here. Yeah. And I own that one digitally and physically as well.
Yeah.
Even though I only play one of them.
I only have one copy of Mother 3 sitting right here.
So that is a line I've drawn in that I don't give Nintendo digital business typically.
Sorry, I was just remembering Mina talking about Final Fantasy X. I have a Vita cart of 10 sitting right here.
Right?
What else do I have here? Hold on. My 3DS carts.
You know what's embarrassing is I think I have a digital copy on my Vita as well as a physical copy of 10 and 10-2.
Here we go. There's three Atlas games here. Persona Q, Etrian Odyssey 2, Untold the Fafnir Knight, and Etrian Mystery Dungeon. Like, apparently I start playing Atlas 3DS games and then throw them over here.
Well, and this conversation has reminded me, I haven't pre-ordered the new copy of Strange Journey yet. Oh, that must be because they haven't released it for pre-order. That's really annoying.
I was about to say they haven't released it yet because I plan on buying that this time as well.
Yeah, I have that on DS and I never played it. I never got around to it.
I remember, I liked that game until it got to a dungeon with too many, here's darkness and spinners, so you can never tell where the heck you are.
I'm out.
Yeah, that one killed me, but that was a good ways into the game, and it was a neat game with a neat shtick to it. So,
I think I might own 4 copies of Final Fantasy XII. I have the U.S. Special Edition, the regular edition. I think I have the Japanese regular edition, and then the International Zodiac Job System. And then when it comes out here. Later this month, next month, then I'll have yet another copy of it.
I guess what I should say is if a game is really good or I really love the series, I will buy multiples of it because 1, I like supporting it, and 2, I like seeing it in a newer, crisper, and shinier way because I really love the game.
Plus
but if
trophies.
I didn't, plus trophies,
yeah,
because I can't get trophies in the original PS2 version of Final Fantasy X, 10-2.
And 12, you could just all you did was fill out the pirates area,
right?
That's
right?
cute and all, but it's no trophies.
It's not trophies.
Well, in any game too, that's going to be like a niche underdog. I mean, I guess Persona's not really an underdog anymore, but
not anymore.
Yeah, most Atlas games though.
Yeah, I'm definitely more apt to, if I have the extra cash, I will get multiple copies of it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I don't buy multiple copies of anything that's I don't know. I liked it only a little bit or whatever. I don't think I do that. If I do, I sell the older versions of the game. I think I went and sold I sold a bunch of old copies of games that I will never, I guarantee you I will never touch again.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to plug in my 360 anymore.
Right.
This is probably the weirdest thing I have from a game. Blow up Teddy.
Yeah.
Come on, that's adorable.
I still have my copy of that has Teddy and it's sealed. It's right behind me somewhere.
Oh man, that was a hard one to keep sealed too then, because that package I remember being kind of funky.
It's it's bulbous. So I think the short answer to that is Atlas games.
Yeah.
We are suckers for Atlas stuff.
And I am
Atlas
a victim of Final Fantasy, like you, Belzebord.
Yeah.
I mean, if they found a way to re-release Chrono Trigger every year, I mean, they'd have my money every time.
I still
You don't have multiple Chrono Triggers?
I have 2, because I don't have the original SNES one, but I have the PlayStation Disc one, and then I have the Nintendo DS one.
What about the phone one? The one that you can carry around with you all the time.
I'm really against Square Enix phone games. It costs too much. They need to be they need to be $5.
I don't even like Trigger, and I have it on my phone.
Yeah.
Wait, did you just say you don't like Chrono Trigger?
Listen, I've had this conversation with Boston in the past. I am I'm the person that likes Cross. I shouldn't say I love Cross.
Yeah.
And I dislike Trigger.
I can respect that.
You're allowed to like them both. I mean, I'm just throwing that out there.
But I don't.
Yeah.
I tried and I don't. I love Cross though a lot. In the same way that people who love Trigger and hate Cross, I am the polar opposite. All by myself.
I I have Trigger on Super NES, and that is actually one of the few Super NES boxed games I have in a protective case, because I have it still in mint condition with all of this stuff inside, even like the Nintendo Power Buy Our Magazine thing. I bought that when it came out, and I was like, I don't know, man, this could be pretty cool. It was between that and Secret of Evermore, and I made the right choice. I can go back and say, I didn't like Secret of Mana, so I didn't buy Secret of Evermore because I thought it was a sequel.
I might have all the Earthbound stuff somewhere, like the
really?
box and book and everything. Yeah, wow. I think I have it all.
Nice.
The scratch
and
sniffs don't work anymore.
Yeah.
Scratch and sniff has been scratched to death.
Yeah, scratched and sniffed.
Yep.
Let's move on to Bill Silver's second question. What situations or challenges have made your heart pound nearly out of your chest, bordering on cardiac arrest? More recently for me, it was the 800 Dash challenge in Hyper Light Drifter. For RPGs, what has made me... I want to say fighting Yasmat in Final Fantasy XII, but you have to do it over the period of a couple of real-life days, so it sort of becomes sort of a slog after some point, where it's like, I'm just going to go over and save, and then, tomorrow I'll go and keep fighting him.
I feel like there was a boss or something in Persona 5 where I was almost dead, and I was like, please, I don't want to do this over. And it had to be one of those multi-phase bosses, too. Maybe not. The
secret boss that you can only fight in New Game Plus in Persona 5 is really good and really, really hard. That was one where I barely scraped through it.
Mm.
Did he say games or just RPGs in general?
He said games, but I figured RPGs.
Okay. If it was RPGs, the only thing that I remember ever feeling like this moment of like almost absolute despair was in Persona 3, because of the way you had to like court all the female characters in the game, and things could reverse on you, and you had to make sure you spent X amount. You had to spend like a little bit of time with this person, but like if you're trying to raise them all so that way you can get the maximum stuff from the game, you have to like really balance them out. And then there's this scene where like they all like come into like a room with you and your guy friends, and like everyone tries playing like the wingmen to like protect you from getting assaulted, and I just remembered my heart sinking to like the absolute bottom, and I was just about ready to cry because I was like, I just want the max social links. Right. And I've got tears going down my eyes. I'm like, please, you're making me feel so much guilt here, and all I want is the max stuff on this single playthrough, and I feel like a monster.
I thought you were going to say Persona 3's final boss, because it had so many one-hit kill, and you couldn't control your party members. So it was like, you need to stop casting Marin Karen for like 2 seconds and start healing somebody, people.
No, I don't think there's ever been an RPG that's gotten me to the point of that level of stress. The only game that's ever gotten me to the point that I was actually crying and feeling my heart like jumping was playing Dark Souls, which I don't think is that's action.
Yeah, it's an RPG.
Action RPG. Okay,
if that one counts, then I've definitely cried and my heart was definitely racing, and there's probably videos of me just bawling as I'm screaming at the boss.
Red Phantom coming at you.
Oh my good. Oh, there was a Red Phantom, but I didn't cry for him.
Yeah.
That one was funny.
Yeah.
But there was just bosses.
I remember the Nocturne bosses being a nightmare, like, because I know I'm remembering this wrong, but right now, the way I think I remember it is first you fight God, and then if you're doing a certain ending, then you fight Lucifer. And I don't think there's like a save point in between, and I think both boss battles are ridiculously hard. And
I thought you were going to mention Matador, like the thing that stops people from playing that game so often.
Oh, yeah, no, I beat the game.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have that save data anymore because I foolishly transferred my PS2 data to my PS3 that is now dead and in a drawer downstairs.
Oh,
so, unless they bring that game out with some major changes to it, I may never replay that game again. But
that's actually a game I would really like for them to come out as a PS2 classic on PS4, because I feel like so many people, myself included, missed that game due to a number of factors, and it's so beloved and it's so good. And I feel like with how popular Persona 5 is right now, that could probably do pretty well.
I would really want them to modernize it, though. I think everyone's going to hit the same problem of hitting, as you said, Matador or whichever boss, because one of the first bosses is going to floor you, and then you're going to have to reevaluate what you're doing pretty hard then, because that was the first game they did the press turn icon bit, which I think they gave it another name now, but it's been the battle system they've used ever since, and they have some really hardcore cool challenges with that, and that they have this whole other section area of the game where you go down and they say, okay, you have to kill this enemy in 1.5 turn icons.
Oh, wow.
And the game is very, like, it's a lot more explicit about how, like, I guess Persona 5 works fairly differently, but for Nocturne, it was if you hit an enemy on their weakness, then you only use half a turn.
Right.
So, and it put your turns in front of you, like you could see them the entire battle, so there wasn't a mystery about it. But it definitely created some really cool, interesting situations, and and they also did the thing where, like, if you keep your pixie from the beginning of the game and just keep fusing her at the end of the game, then there's a quest you can do to get, like, this. It becomes like a level 60 or 80 pixie where she has, like, all the max elemental spells like Maziodyne and Agidyne. I don't know how to say any of these words.
That's how I
maybe
one
of the.
That's how I would have said them.
Yeah.
Okay. But I have a lot of love for Nocturne, but I don't think they're gonna have to update it somehow for a modern audience, because that is a hardcore freaking RPG. Like,
I guarantee you they would make an easier mode for people, because I don't think you could just release Nocturne into the wild as it is anymore.
I don't know. SMT4 was really hard, and they did a very similar thing with the first boss there, where it was very much like, look, if you don't have your stuff in order and you haven't been fusing and you don't have the right setup, this boss is going to beat you down in, like, one turn.
Well, like, okay, so in Nocturne, the way you got skills was you equipped Magatama. Once you learned a skill, like, once your skills were, you filled them up, then you just equipped a new Magatama, and then you had to learn skills and then save over your previous skill. And you could not access your previous skill afterwards or get it again.
Okay.
So it has a lot of really unforgiving aspects like that in it. And the dungeon crawling stuff, I think, would be fairly easy for them to curb, like they would do in an SMT4. But there's a lot of other aspects to that game that I think need a little bit of modernization. But I would love for people to experience like the whole mannequin storyline in that game is just so freaking messed up and dark, and, like, when you can finally summon those things later, kind of following, like, the you kind of, like, there are these two characters in the mannequin storyline where one is very much kind of almost a Jesus figure, and the other is this serial murderer who, like, literally has clothing made out of the faces of these other mannequins.
Jeez.
Like, super, super dark, but like, after they're kind of gone from the world, like, you can unlock them to fuse them and have them in your party, but you have to find kind of their spirits, which don't have a form to them, and their spirit personalities are way different than their like real world stuff. And I'm gonna just start spoiling everything from Nocturne, guys. We gotta stop me.
Well, I think one of the other things too that is a selling point of Nocturne is it looks so cool because it has such a distinctive style. I think that could be carried over into the HD era fairly easily, because it has this very stark and very stylized look. It's not like something like Final Fantasy 12 where it's this very detailed thing. It's very minimalistic, and I think that could be really cool.
I agree. I love those games.
So HD remake of Nocturne is your answer, I guess. All right, thank you very much, Billsford, for writing in your questions. If you'd like to visit us, you can do so at pickingupthepixels.com. Tweet us at pickinguppixels, no the in there. Email us fans@pickingupthepixels.com. Click the, I think there's an icon on the right-hand side of the page for the Discord server. Join in there. It's always a really good time. Musim, where can we find you?
You can buy my music at musum.bandcamp.com and check out my other podcast, thecarouselpodcast.com.
And Mina, where can we find you?
You can find me on YouTube under Mina K.O. Rocket in Boston.
You can find my other show, That Video Game Podcast, at tvgp.tv. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening, and our adventure continues next month.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, and thank you very much, everyone, for watching the video/live stream. We'll be back the same time next month. There's way more sun coming in than I thought. Bye.